What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Narcissu for Chapter 6. In the last episode, so much stuff happened. It was unbelievable. As I said in the last episode, it was my favorite chapter by far, and this game just keeps on impressing me. So, without further ado, let's get right into Chapter 6. Around when the high-flying sun slowly started to drop into shadow. The silver coupe speeding along the tollway. Before long, the Katsururaga parking area. A short break, a change of pace. Want to stop at the next rest area too? She sounds different. What's wrong? Oh, okay. She sounds normal now. I see. And that probably wasn't unreasonable. She had been pretty energetic a while back, and that was taxing on patients as sick as we were. Then I'll go buy something for you. I'll be back in a second. I rushed over to the snack stand and picked up a few things no different from the standard convenience store fare. Here, a Pocari Sweat and rice balls, and potato chips. Her response was the same as ever, but she didn't start eating at all. Under usual circumstances, she had already torn into the potato chips by now. Are you okay? Could it be that you're not feeling so well? I swear to God, if something bad happens. Oh no. I see. So she was out. I'd been scared of that. Well, yes, we'd escaped from the hospital, but it was obvious it was going to happen. To be clear, it wasn't as if we were intentionally leaving meds behind. But I haven't even thought about it up until now. I hadn't even had the senses to think about it. When did you run out? So, you'll have been off for them 24 hours pretty soon. The doctors told me that I could go on without meds for 2 days or so. Maybe she was the same way. And I had thought about it. It had been 8 days already since we'd left the hospital. And given the amount of meds I brought with me, I could see the end of the line coming into view. Just what was I supposed to do? Yeah, I know. You don't want to be at home either. The silver coupe in motion once again. Eventually, I got off the tollway at the next exit. I didn't know how that was going to change things, but it wasn't as if staying on the tollway was going to help. I headed into an urban area from the Wan tollway exit, and I looked for a pharmacy attached to a large hospital, not too small a private clinic. Probably it would have been best just to go to the hospital, and for any normal patient, that would have been obvious. But we were inhabitants of 7F, and the ID bracelets on our wrists were white, not blue. And we were escapees from 7F at that. I circled around the neighborhood as I held those thoughts in my mind. Probably we'd be able to find what we needed at a pharmacy near a large hospital. Found it! A university hospital at a major intersection and a couple of pharmacies clustered next to it. I figured that this was as good as it is and stopped the car in a vacant lot. Hey, give me your medication bag. She handed the bag over to me with a curious look on her face. I looked into that bag and took out the medication list therein. This was just what I needed. Alright, I'll be right back. Leaving her in the car, I ran toward the nearby pharmacy. The automatic doors slid open as I walked in. I headed directly for the counter. Welcome. A middle-aged man came to the counter to greet me, probably a pharmacist, given his white coat. Could I have these drugs, please? Yes, of course, just a moment. With the medication list that I'd given to him, he retreated to the interior of the pharmacy. Probably this was a pharmacy affiliated with the hospital, not just your standard mom and pop outfit. I'd gotten my meds dispensed from the places just like this back when I was attending outpatient clinics. After all, it was right next to the hospital, so this place should have the meds we needed. Thank you for waiting. Here we are. The pharmacist had... Watch, the meds are gonna be so expensive. The pharmacist had come back after a short time. He was holding 2 plastic bags, each of them full of medication bottles. With that amount, we'd be fine for now. That would probably last her for a week or so. And with that, I took out my wallet from my pocket. Oh, may I see your prescription? Prescription? Yes, as these are prescription medications. Your doctor did give you one, yes? I'd forgotten about this. These were no ordinary medications, so I couldn't just waltz in and buy them. Is something the matter? Oh, well... As I stammered and stuttered, the pharmacist looked upon with suspicion. Wait, that's... Oh, no. If we're gonna get put back into this place... My name, my blood type, and then the name of the hospital. Oh! The medications that he left on the counter, I swiped them all at once. Hey, stop right there! He shouted at me from across the counter, but that was to my back. I had already started sprinting, only 5 meters to the door. My legs were weak, I was wobbly, but I kept running nonetheless. And when I was about to sprint out the slowly opening door of the pharmacy, just then... Ow, damn! My sense had whited out for a second. I'd hit my head on the edge of the automatic door so hard that apparently the glass of the door had shattered. Dizzy, almost syncopal, I forced open the half door with my hands. Then I broke off into a dead sprint. I did not once let those medications go. I was so out of breath. Oh God. I just spaced out. I was so out of breath that I felt like fainting, only a few more meters to the car, but it felt much longer. Nobody was giving chase to me, it seemed, but I didn't have the time to be looking behind me anyway, because if I got caught, then what would happen to her? Would she wait for my return forever alone in that car? I ran for dear life with those feelings at heart. Staggering, short of breath, saddened that this was all the strength I had. I collapsed into the driver's seat and floored the pedals. I was forced to realize that I was even weaker than I was at the pachinko parlor. And when I checked myself in the rearview mirror, there was blood on my foot. Oh shit. Oh my God. Well, hopefully the bleeding would stop soon enough. I applied pressure with tissue as I drove. Yeah, I'm fine. But you're Oh. Don't worry about it, it's nothing. I waved my hand to tell her not to worry as she looked at me with concern. Then I handed over the medications that I had held tightly clutched in my left hand. Here, take your meds. For now, we would be fine. Those meds will last for maybe a week. But what were we going to do when that ran out? I'd managed to get by pretty well today, but it wasn't obvious that I was losing strength daily. We originally had no plan or destination, and you could not feel or fear of losing someone you did not already have. But things were a little different now. A purpose had been born, and so a fear of losing that purpose had also been born. A painfully clear day, the emptiness expanses of the high heavens of winter above us. Back on the expressway. By now we had passed the Suita Junction onto the Hiroshima Road. Where are we going next? Got it. To the Sanyo Expressway. The silver coupe moving accordingly to her navigation. By now, on the roadside distance indicators, every so often the words Awaji Island kept appearing. We had already come 900 kilometers since we escaped from 7F that day. I had never believed that we would have made it, but our final destination was not far from us now, and soon we could see a large bridge ahead of us. So this is the Akashi Kaikyu Bridge. Pretty incredible, huh? It was hard to suppress a triumphant feeling, as if we could drive across the ocean on expanse. After we'd driven along for a while, there were people stopped at the roadside here and therein to route the bridge. Probably tourists or something, seeing as they were taking pictures and stuff. And just like those people, I stopped the car on the shoulder of the road. If it's just for a little while, it'll be okay. And as far as the eye could see, there were other cars that had done the same. Hey, come on, let's get some fresh air. It's probably an awesome view. She was still a little reluctant, but she got out of the car with me anyway. In the midst of the strong cold winds atop the bridge, this is colder than I thought it would be. It was all too much for us, since we'd never really gotten out of the car. And in stark contrast to us, there were two people who had seemed to be a couple not far from us. Looked like they were taking souvenir photos. Their happy voices carried all the way over to us. And when I looked around those two, I saw lots of families and tourist groups taking photos too. Souvenir photos, huh? Fair enough. One was supposed to take them at places like this. Come to think of it. Yeah, wait for a second. There was a camera in here somewhere. When I inspected the car interior for the first time around, I saw a cheap disposable camera somewhere I remembered. It still had a few shots left in it, if memory served. Having found the camera, I checked the film indicator. Oh good, still 2 shots left. Sorry for the wait. Come on, I'll take a picture of you. A photo. Might as well, you know. Oh, come on, don't be like that. Strike a pose or something. And I held up the camera toward her as I said this. Come on, look a little happy, won't you? But as if she were embarrassed, even when she turned to me, even when she turned to me, she had a little sour look on her face and nothing more. But it could well have been that even if she looked this way, she was trying her best to smile for me right now. With this at heart, I was supposed to take a picture of her when... Excuse me, could we ask you to take a picture? Oh yes, of course. 2 people who looked like a couple coming towards us, holding a camera. Then I'll take the picture now. Please do. They stood close to each other happily and flashed brilliant smiles. I centered those 2 in the viewfinder and snapped a photo. Thank you very much. And now we'll take a picture of you 2. Oh, no, where? You're using this camera, right? Before I could answer, he'd taken my camera. No, it was more like he'd plucked it out of my hand. Probably wanted to get it over with as soon as possible, which is why he took the camera and ignored our hesitation. Alright, you 2, get closer. At those words, I stepped a little closer to her body, and with her usual lack of expression, she helplessly stepped a little closer to me. Shouldn't you be posing a bit more? This meddlesome boyfriend character and his crazy demands, his girlfriend standing to the side, looking a bit apologetic. And telling myself that I had no other choice, I slowly put my arm around her shoulder. The first time I ever touched her. The feeling of her childlike clothing and her waist-length hair under my hand. I couldn't see her face, and now that I was looking straight at the camera. But maybe, just maybe, she was gracing me with that never-seen-before, shy, bashful, slightly sour look. Okay, I'm taking the picture now. Their business over, the couple started heading back to their car, and we were doing the same. My girlfriend, huh? Pretty bad misunderstanding, eh? Or could it be that we looked that way to others? My words spoken lightly and in jest. And enjoyed myself for some reason. I kept speaking to her in that tone. What do you, Setsumi, what do you think? And with those words, as usual, she turned back to look at the window. And just as usual, I couldn't see what kind of facial expression she was wearing. But I could tell that she wasn't looking far into the distance. She was turning away because I was making her bashful. The spacious sky above our heads, spreading out into the distance with wintry clarity. Arrival at the Sumuto interchange, not far from that bridge, exiting off the expressway back onto normal highways. So we finally made it. Yeah. The odometer indicated that we come over 900 kilometers ever since that day we escaped from 7F. We'd arrived at that last destination that we hadn't even cared about on the onset. Then where do we go from here? South? Got it. I took the route as per her instructions. But in truth, even I knew where to go at this point. I could see the sign of the Tourist Information Center from here. But without a second thought, I obeyed her navigational instructions. That was the way it had to be, and it could not be any other way. How was it that I came to think of that way? Ooh, this name seems like it could be the last chapter. And that was chapter 6, a short but okay chapter. Chapter 5 is still my favorite by far. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and a favorite if you did. And please subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.